Good day, everyone, and welcome to Weather News with J7409. The name you know, the news you certainly can use. Today, Tuesday, the 22nd of January, 2019. A winter weather storm is expected to impact parts of the Central Plains and to the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes through tomorrow. Active weather returns to the Pacific Northwest and very cold conditions across the eastern United States will moderate. That and more coming up in this edition of today's weather news. If you haven't subscribed and you're into the weather, please just click on my face down in the bottom right hand corner, then click the bell to make sure you get all the latest in weather news, forecasts, watches, warnings, and storms that may be approaching. What we're looking at here is the NAM 12 km near surface reflectivity map from Tropical Tidbits. We're going to turn it on and I'm going to tell you weather in general for today, what's happening coming up for the next couple of days. Now, a low pressure system continues to consolidate as it exits the Central Rockies into the Central Plains today. Now, parts of the Central High Plains have already been impacted by blizzard or near blizzard conditions as the storm intensifies. The low is forecast to track east-northeast across the Central Plains and into the Great Lakes through tomorrow. Now, we've got a swath of snow that's expected to the north of the storm track, with a foot of accumulation possible over the Great Lakes area. Some mixed precipitation can also be expected near the storm track as well as parts of interior northeast by tomorrow. South of the storm track, rain is expected to fall ahead of a cold front, especially over the southeast later tomorrow into Thursday morning, where heavy rain along with thunderstorms are possible. Before the arrival of the aforementioned cold front I just talked about, very cold air will dominate much of the eastern seaboard, and I can attest it's doing it. However, we got some more coming, and as the cold high pressure system gives way to the developing low pressure system coming from the Central Plains, temperatures will moderate to above normal levels tomorrow under increasingly southerly flow of winds. Now, right now I'm at 18, 19 degrees. Tomorrow I should be at 64 or 65 for a high. My high today will struggle to get to freezing if it gets that high. This is just an example for you folks, and then boom, I'm going to be right back in the deep freeze. Meanwhile, moisture associated with a rather energetic Pacific cyclone is about to reach the Pacific Northwest, and rain could become heavy later today over the coastal sections as well as across the Olympic Peninsula. The moisture will then continue to penetrate further inland, reaching the Intermountain region by tomorrow in the form of snow. Now, the snow will move into the northern Rockies Wednesday night and early Thursday, just as the next surge of Arctic air from central Canada arrives. Okay, last time we heard from Russell. Remember, Russell was on Sunday and he was afraid his power was going to go out and his trees were going to fall. And, well, Russell was having a rough time of it with the weather. Well, the day after, yesterday, Russell sent this in. The day after, Russell says it's 3 below zero this morning with a high of 10 for the next couple of days. Sure glad I plowed all day before it froze solid. He's got a big pot of chicken soup on the wood stove, and in a couple of months he says he'll be complaining about the heat. But right now he's telling everyone to stay warm. Russell. And we have another picture over here. This is from Russell. So, Russell, we're glad you're okay. Thank you so much for sending these pics in, okay? So glad you're safe. And where in the world is Chris? Well, Chris sent this in just a day or so ago. Chris now says this is the sunset from Faber Cove, Fort Pierce, Florida. That's beautiful. But you know what? I told Chris it was going to be awful windy. The seas were going to get rough. And you know what? He goes, I'm the red arrow. See that red arrow right in here? Not this one. but this one, you see that red arrow? He says, I'm the red arrow, and there are now 6 boats hunkered down in this cove waiting for the wind and waves in the ocean to quiet down a little bit before they can go back out in them. So, Chris, glad you're safe. Glad you're in a safe place, and the wind should have died down a little bit for you now. You should be able to get out of the cove and get going, but brr, when you come back up north, you're going to get in some cold stuff, my friend, so be prepared for that. Thank you so much for sending these in, Chris and Russell. And if you have any weather pictures you'd like to share with us, please click show more below this video. Then scroll down till you find the email address, my email address to send them to. You know, we could have some thunderstorms popping up down south, down around the Gulf, moving up into Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia. And Georgia just had that terrible, Alabama just had that terrible tornado just a while back. So this is Wednesday at 10 a.m. It looks like that's when they'll start coming up from the Gulf. I just wanted to show you this so you'd be aware going through Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Florida Panhandle and other parts of Florida. Some may reach up into North and South Carolina. They don't look too terribly bad, but with this weather system, the cold and the hot meeting each other, we just never know, folks, so be aware of that. And here's the freezing altitude map. You guys know by now, if it's green, it's warm. The darker the green, the warmer it is. If it's white, it's very, very cold. Now, this is set for this morning. I'm going to let it run through for just a couple of days. I told you already we have another Arctic blast coming down, and it is as it goes through Texas. And if you watch my winter weather snow forecast, you saw where some ice could be possible, maybe even a little bit of snow in Texas at times. So it's going to get cold all the way down into Mississippi and Alabama. You can see how it's surging down. This is by Wednesday and Thursday, and it's just going to march on across. So people, please prepare. Keep your coats, your gloves, your hats, and everything to wrap up with, your scarves handy, because you are going to be needing them. And today around 1 p.m. this afternoon, this is wind gusts, not sustained wind. Still fairly windy out in the area here. We can see right here at the edge of the Oklahoma Panhandle and up in northeastern New Mexico, your wind gusts should be around, let's see here, 46 miles per hour. That's in the blue. As we move on across, we'll look like where it dives down a little bit is around Oklahoma City. That's wind gust of 32. You can see still very, very windy. We will move up to around 9 p.m. tonight. That wind's going to move down into Texas. We got some more winds coming up from the Gulf as this system moves. You can see it's pushing the water in and the wind gusts. So be careful, Chris, especially around Florida where you're at. You could have some wind gusts of probably in the 40. No, not too bad, around 33 knots. But that's enough in your blowboat to have to handle, I understand. So we'll come up to Wednesday afternoon around 2 p.m. We can see this low pressure right off the coast here. The heavier winds are looking like they're in portions of Tennessee and Alabama at this time, and that's like 43 knot gust. 43 knot gust. So people be careful. The wind is still going to flare up at times if you're out and about. That's just going to make it colder. So that's going to do it for weather news today with J7409. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'd appreciate it a lot. If you're into the weather like all the rest of us, we'll welcome you with open arms. Have a good day, a safe day, a blessed day. Peace, love, and kindness to all, and thanks for watching.